We'll talk about Grandpa and Grandma Nine. And Grandpa Nine came over, and I guess he came through Canada. I mean, no, Grandma Nine did, I know, but he came over to Wisconsin and worked in a lumber camp. Then he got enough money for passage for Grandma Night. She'd come over and they got married in Dubuque, Iowa. And then they had, Grandma Drabing would be 100 years old today, 22nd. Today's Pokey's birthday too. She's 11 today. Oh. And then Grandpa came over when he was 14 and joined the Army when he was 17. In a way, he was supposed to be 18 and he didn't want to lie about it, so he put two big numbers in his bottoms of his shoes with 18 on it and said he was over 18. And his brother was 15, and by the time he was 21, he had served 2 hitches, what you call it. Anyhow, he'd been in 6 years. He got an honorable discharge for the. He was hurt real bad one time, and the people that his father, I guess, died by that time, and he was living with this other couple. And they took, this woman went down in, I don't know where he was, Tennessee or Georgia or someplace down there. And took him home for a while, and then he went back because he got over it and he wanted to be in the Army, so he a little kid. You can see every time I say something that thing flashes. I bet you that's real good.
I'll let you hear it.
I've got a notebook. I got one the other day, and I'm going to write in all that stuff and give it to your dad.
How about your mother's side?
Mother's side. Well, I was talking about my mother's side, part of it. They were coming from England. Then they moved to Tennessee, and they went to England one time. Maybe they went to England before they went to Tennessee. I don't know. And Grandma said that these colored people used to come over and borrow fire. They'd bring their fire shovel, their little fire shovels, and get some coals out of the stove. They didn't have any matches. I mean, they couldn't afford to buy matches. So they'd come over and say, could they borrow some fire? And so Grandma'd give them a shovel full of that. There's those coals out of the stove. That's the way they started their fire. And we went over there, and Grandma's younger sister was born over there in England. And they didn't like it, so they come back and we took it back over again. But I'm going to write that all down for Dean, and then.
How about the prisoners of war you had? His friends you had? How about the prisoner of war?
Out to Fort Robinson? Oh, that Kurt Hulig, Dean remembers him. He used to make, well, for one Christmas he made the kids some things, and he made a ship in a bottle. And oh, it was so pretty, and Dean wanted to show it to the kids at school. We're saying no. When he come home, he didn't have any bottle because he broke the bottle. That ship was in there. I don't know how they do that, but they did. And then at one time that I went down to take the kids to practice at the church. I took, Kurt with me, and we sat down there, and I thought, your granddad was going to come and pick him up. He has a Jeep. He was going to pick him up. And so it come time for him to go in, so I just went on in and left him in the car with the keys and everything. The MPs had come along, they would have impounded the car for a month. I'm sure glad that he didn't take off. If he had, I would have been in trouble. When we got the car out, well, we'd have done, because your granddad had to drive 30 miles to work. He used to take riders with him. He had a carpool. You charge them 25 cents a piece a day, round trip. Not paid for the gas. It sure wouldn't pay for the gas now, would it?
Nope.
$1.30 a gallon. Did you get any gas? Stop talking. Did you get any gas today? Or last night? How much was it? A gallon.
$1.24.
$1.24. You saved 6 cents. I don't know.
You'll hear this around Christmas time.
You're going to send that to him for Christmas?
Well, I'm going to be...
Oh, you're going to be back there. That's right. Steve said last night that he sure wished that he didn't have to go down there, but I guess the school must start it Monday probably. You have to go down and get Jessica. Maybe next time around, he said. I'd like to come down for the fair too. He shouldn't have left her down there. But they did.
How about some of his old friends?
The Deans. I'll tell you about Pal when he got hurt. He was across the street and there was 2 dogs in a fight, so Pal went over there, put his 2 cents in, and this man that he carried their mail. He was a mail carrier there in Chadron. So I think he thought, well, I'll get rid of about 3 dogs. So he ran over and he had this big old, it was a Buick, I guess, an old-fashioned one, and really heavy, And Pal's the only one who got hurt, so he went across the street, just rolling across over there, and I almost killed him. And Dean went in and called the vet and told him to come up there. And he said, I'm sorry, boys, but I can't do anything for him. He broke some ribs and, he was really hurt. So Dean had this little, what was his name? Dean will tell you. Punky Lau. That's what they called him. And he went out and got the shovel and was gonna. And Dean said, what are you gonna do with that? And he says, I'm gonna dig a grave for Pal. And Dean said, he's not dead yet. So he couldn't lay down for a long time, and he only person that he'd eat for was Dean, and he put it in his hands, and Dean, in his food, and he just ate just just for just for Dean's sake, I think. We was also worried about him. He lived till he was 17. Dean was 20 when he died. And Granddad saw him laying down and he thought he was asleep, so in there, so he went over and gave him a little kick with his foot, wake him up. Wake up. And then Jack buried him down there by the plant and put a cross up for him. I guess he's still down there, but I don't think that cross is, but he put a marker there so that he'd know where he was buried. And he was always afraid of thunder. And he'd about tear the screen door down in order to get in the house. And he was afraid of gunshots. And then afterwards, he went deaf, and then Dean would go out and take him out and hunt with him and hunt pheasants. He used to hunt him sometimes when it was out of season. He'd go down there to the plant and go out and get a pheasant and bring it home and go back and get another one. I don't know, he got that one day. And he was bringing a paper bag because he was if they'd have caught him, I don't know how much they'd have fined him. And he'd skin them and throw the feathers out there in the garbage. Anyway, nobody's good. One time he'd come down here and, he was here, and I think Jeanette was here too. I think they was married then. No, they were. This Kelly that used to, he used to like Dean so well. I always called him his boy. And he'd come down. Dean asked him to, asked him wanted to go hunting, or he asked Dean, I don't know which, but come down here about, we was just eating breakfast, and it was 6 o'clock, so we asked him to eat breakfast with us, and he took Dean out. They went hunting and come in for lunch, and then they went back out. Dean's the only one that got any pheasants, and Kelly says, I'm glad that Dean got them. They said, me. He was like Dean. He knew him ever since he was a little tiny kid, One time, your granddad sent over a bottle of beer to his grandmother. She had cancer, and she didn't have much of an appetite, and she did like this beer, so he sent him over told me to take over a bottle to her. And I was going up to my folks, and it was a block and a half away, so I said, Dean, run over and give this to Grandma Logan. And Kelly come out, they had a gate, and Dean couldn't unfasten it because it's too high, he was only about probably 4. And Kelly said, I'll take it in to Grandmother. And he said, no, you won't. He said, if you took it in, you'd drink it. So he took it in himself, about to trust anybody. He used to run off and go up to Mom and Dad's, and Don was up there, and he'd say, run, Dean, run, here comes Ethel. And then he'd run around up there, and I'd have to run after him, and then half the time I'd carry him home, because Sandberg's gotten his feet going home. But boy, they didn't get his feet going up there. The sand wasn't hot or anything, One time we went up there, and he was took off his boots on the outside of and put them on the porch, and when he went out to get them to come home, why, he didn't have, and they wasn't out there. Mom said, "Are you sure that you wore those boots up here?" And yeah, he knew he did, so he finally had to come home because they looked everywhere and they couldn't find them. And when he didn't come in the door, why, there they was out on the porch. Pal had brought them home one at a time. I still talking? I mean, that's still running.
So to make sure it's working.
Yeah, it's flashing. I'll throw you. Tony's got one of those she used to have. I don't know if she doesn't know that. I thought maybe she'd call today and tell you goodbye. Said she wished she was out here so she could see you.
That was Pet Squirrel and Charlie.
Nobody didn't call him. Anyway, he caught it, and it was just a little one. And the thing in my kitchen, I had I had it in the living room first. I mean, he'd run all over the house, but in the living room, he'd get up on the plants and eat them. I mean, I don't know if he ate them or not, he'd break them off. And this one time, he was always afraid of strangers. And one time, when Betty and Jim come down there, of course they weren't really strangers, but he went behind the refrigerator, and this refrigerator we had was old-fashioned and had a fan in the back. And the thing started up, and there the squirrel went out in the middle of the floor. But Pal, and we had a little kitten that, he was cute, and he long-haired, and he had a tail about this long. He just real, and he was about this high. And Pal and the squirrel and that kitten would all drink milk out of the same saucer at the same time. I wish I'd had a picture of them. I don't know why I didn't take a picture. I didn't have any face camera. I mean, I couldn't take it in the kitchen very well. But one time there was a little dog who lived across the street, and a little rat terrier, and he used to chase cats. We had a black cat with a long-haired cat, real pretty. And Pal saw him chasing it, and he went out there like a streak, and that little dog took off back home, and here come Pal and the old cat walking across the street just as big as you please. And then he was death on anybody else's cats but ours, and then there was a little dog living down the street from us. They had we called her Dizzy. And this dog, or this cat across there, was chasing squirrel. And this little Dizzy went out there, and he chased the cat back across the Remolards, and then come back over, and the squirrel went up a tree. He wasn't about to let anybody hurt his squirrels either. They had a lot of them. And one time the boys put some nuts in the side of the door and opened the front door. They put nuts on the porch and then on into the house, and the squirrels come in there. They're big ones, grown. And then when they shut the door, they went up the curtains. They were just, but yeah, they were tame. When you're outside, you could feed them nuts out of your hand. They'd eat them. I've got a picture of that squirrel in the tree that someplace, I don't know where. Maybe I'll find it sometime. You turn that off, you have it all filled up, like jabbered.
It's an hour and a half for it.
An hour and a half? Yeah. Like I had Steve go in there and record that tape. I don't know how many. It was 90 minutes too, but he couldn't play that many. And he sang. And a lot of them. Did you rehear that Phantom? What is it? 404 or something. Phantom
Song.
409 or something like that. Well, he's got that on there. Yeah, I don't know. He made a lot of. And hey, it's good to be home. Like you say, the supper's on the stove, and you know that John Denver sings it. I like him. He thinks maybe he really likes the mountains. John Denver does. Steve sings quite a bit like him. Nina said the other day that I was telling him about, Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. And Nina says, Steve sings that too. The time Marguerite said she's coming down before you left, huh?
Want to hear it?
Yeah, I want to hear it and see how crazy it is. And I might not let you take it home. No wonder people used to think that I was Marilyn, because the boys used to call out and they said, "Oh, Marilyn, I could have made a lot of dates with her, for her, and because they thought that." They was talking to me, and one time up at St. Paul, Marilyn wasn't home, and she went with Harv, and she wasn't supposed to go on the truck. And the guy called, and she said, "No, don't tell anybody I went left." And I won't. So they called, and they said, "Marilyn, Harvey had an accident, and don't be worried, he's all right." He went on and on talking to me, and he thought he was talking to Marilyn. Then one time down to Phoenix, Harv's boss called up there. He thought he was talking to Marilyn, and he was smarting off about, was this somebody's pool hall? I don't know. I forget what it was. And then I said, "Well, I think that you don't know who you're talking to." I says, "This is Marilyn's mother." And he said he felt about that high. He was really joking with her, He felt that. And it sounds just, no wonder people think that they'll call up down there when I answer the phone now, when I, down there, they'll go to talking to me, joking. And then I said, "Well, I think this is Marilyn's mother." I could fool a lot of them. I mean, I did that one up there when you were working for Pillsbury, because she didn't want anybody to know. She wasn't supposed to be going with him, She wasn't supposed to have a rider. They had one of their tires got on fire and burnt the truck up. They was there clear up in Wyoming, and they said, "Why didn't you call the fire department?" Well, how could you call the fire department way out there in 100 miles from nowhere? It's still on, ain't it? Well, I better shut it off. You ought to, when Marguerite comes down, why don't you turn this on and say, I got a recording of Marilyn, you want to hear it? I can't believe it. No wonder people say that. Exactly like her. We used to tell Marilyn that Harp looked like his dad, you know, and Marilyn looked like me. So I said, you know what you're going to look like when you get old like we are. I'm still running and I'm using up all your tape. I could think of something interesting to say. Talk about the weather. 87 degrees down in Phoenix and it's 60 here. It's 80, I think. No, it was 74 maybe down in San Antonio, but that's not very close to where you are. So, and say Texas one. And they said it was, they said it got up to 74 in Boston yesterday. Very warm. Gonna rain again up there, I guess. So I'll say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I went in the store and asked if they had or how much their roasting ears were, and they looked at me like they didn't have any idea what I was asking for, and I said, well, corn on the cob. Then I went in one store and I asked for had any. Don, you took my picture and anyway, I asked for some postcards and they said, cads? Get your cads? And I said, yes. And we went out and got grapes. I guess everybody remembers this. And Gary got so much poison ivy. It was terrible. Couldn't go to school. Just screamed. I mean, it just screamed so bad. One time, I'll have to tell this because I've already told it a half a dozen times, but I'll tell it again. Glenn was sitting at the table and I was looking at him and he said, don't look at me. And I said, why? Why don't you like me? And he said, I like your bread. He wouldn't say he liked me. So maybe he'll like me next time he sees me. He was a little, when he was out here, why, you know, Earl Schaefer, you've seen him, I suppose you have. He's the chief of police. He's a great big, and Glenn was out here and he was talking to him, you know, and he just done like this, you know, and he said, oh, don't hurt me, you know. I mean, Earl did. And every time he'd see him, I'd give him a pack of gum, a stick of gum. He liked him, and he was so tough, you know, and he was so little, and he was just turned 4 years old. Well, I don't know what else to talk about. I suppose that this time tomorrow morning you'll be out there in the mountains, huh?
Yeah.
Just gonna go out tonight and stay all, you gonna stay all day tomorrow? You don't know for sure, huh?
I'll let you know.
Now, when you get done in Texas, I wish you'd send me a picture card. I don't have any, I've got all kinds of cards, but I don't think I've got one from Texas. Every place I go, I try to get a card. Even if nobody sends them to me, if I go there. I've been in 37 states now.
Yeah.
Went to Nevada when I went to Las Vegas from Denver last year. And Jim and Vicki met me there. So that added another state. I had been in 36, so I've never been in the western, well, like California and Oregon, Washington, Idaho. I haven't been in Louisiana, Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, Delaware, North and South Carolina, and that's all the states I haven't been in. But I don't think I'll ever go into those, though. Well, if you're gonna, I already said Merry Christmas and Happy New Year on here. Jack wants me to, like I said, I had that notebook. He wants me to write all the things that I used to do when I was a kid. One time when I was in Florida, we had this teacher. He was real old, you know. He was 60 years old, and we thought, oh, he was aged, you know. And he dyed he had a beard. He dyed it black, and his hair was black. And come down from Canada. He had a wheat farm up there, and then he had an orange grove in Florida. He'd come down there, and I'd teach school, you know, because he liked it. And this one time, well, we had one of those little Sunday school bells that they used to dismiss Sunday school with. I don't know if you know anything about it or not, but anyhow. He'd go out there and tap on that bell, and everybody could hear him if they was in the yard, schoolyard. All this time, I heard the big bell ring. We'd been out playing in the woods and picking blueberries and stuff, and so when my girlfriend and I got up to the schoolhouse, kids was all lined up there, and as they come in, he'd line them up there in front. And he always had plenty of peach switches to switch the kids, you know. No, I guess it really hurt. I never did get one, but I almost did that time. And this little Annie, my girlfriend, she said, whispered to him, said that my cousin and her girlfriend had broken up all the switches and they'd hid them underneath the porch. So he couldn't find them, and he'd go around, oh, if I could find my switches. And he always had a pretty good supply of them, but they took them and broke them up and hid them under there. And he told me that, so I kind of almost giggled. We knew that was real funny. My cousin standing next to me was so scared that I was really going to get it because when he found those switches, we'd all got a real good switching. So he had to let us go. One of my little cousins was there visiting, and he made her, she went up there too, and she was so scared. Some of those kids would get it every day. And one of the boys, Annie's brother, he was the same age as me, he used to go barefooted all the time. And then when he went to Sunday school, he'd have to put on his shoes. And you know how new shoes, well, maybe you don't, but if you go barefooted all the time, they just burn just something terrible. And he'd put on his shoes when he left the house, and then when he got a little ways away from home, he'd take them off. Just where he got to Sunday school, he'd put them back on, and he'd suffer through that whole hour of Sunday school, and then he'd get out, and then he'd take off his shoes. Barefooted, winter and summer. And what he'd done if he lived north. Tony was just as bad about it. She used to take her shoes off the minute she got off the bus, on the school bus. Always barefooted. I never did like to go barefooted very much. And I can't go barefooted now. You better turn that off. I'm talking crazy now. Probably want to eat. May not be.
If you're not going through Colorado Springs, I want to show you how to go home.
Oh, okay.
You have a lot less mileage. Take I-70 out of Denver. Looky here where it takes you to Salina, right straight south.
That's a good idea.
Well, if you're not going through Colorado Springs, if there's no reason for you to go south, why, this road angles all the way here, and then it's straight south, where if you go clear into let's see, New Mexico is 35. See, when you come down here from, let's see, here's Oklahoma, Texas, you come down through Pueblo, and where did you come then? Clear down to where?
To Raton, and cut across right here.
But see, then you don't have any mountains. You don't have nothing. See,
That'd be the
Texas
best
is.
route to take.
I want you to say hi to Dad.
Oh, your father, you're doing this on a recorder.
You ought to hear, I swear, when I was talking on that thing, it sounded just like Marilyn talking.
Well, I sound like I'm clear down the basement.
See what she sounds like on there?
Yeah. Well, let me see. Oklahoma. Still on.
That's the way you go through 70, does that go through,
Right here. Yeah. See, now here's where you pick up Wichita, and here's Oklahoma City, and here's Dallas, Fort Worth.
It's a good idea.
Oh, I've got to give you that telephone number too, Steve. Oh, he's not gonna be home anyway, so.
I'll call from Denver Sunday and see if it's home.
Yeah, people there.
That's a good idea.
Well, I think it would save you a lot of miles of driving.
See what I did when I come up to 287 again. Roll, and then stuff like that.
Yeah, do you want to put that on something?
Okay.
That last one, that's his number. Well, I didn't put the 303, but then,
Yeah, well, after you
yes, I did too, I guess. Yeah, if you're out of town, but.
I told Don that you was a dingling, and I could tell you that because I know you're his father, but I'm your aunt, and I can say that if I want to. I've known him you longer than he has. But I wish you'd come and see us. You know, this is the reason I keep sending him all these things about Nebraska. One time he said, well, I couldn't move back to Nebraska. I said, we don't expect you to move back to Nebraska. We'd just like to see you once in a while. Of course, I know it's a two-way street. It's no further back there than it is out here. So I've been back there once, and he's been here once, so I suppose it's our turn.
So,